start recording.
All right. Happy New Year, Miles.
Yeah, or New Year's Eve, or what is it today? New Year's Eve.
Happy New Year's Eve. Yeah.
Everyone thinks of what on New Year's Eve?
I think everyone thinks about where they can go to be around friends, have fun, and have the shortest drive home, and maybe and or not leave the house.
Yeah, I'm a not leave the house guy.
Yeah, totally.
It's always been that way. Don't know why. Best New Year's Eve I ever had was in Prague, though. I was living in Germany and I grew up at the time. We decided let's go to Prague for New Year's, and that was cool. Something like I'll go out of the house for something like that. But
yeah.
Otherwise, no.
Yeah, they have a good fireworks display in Prague for New Year's. I don't know if you caught it.
I probably did, just don't remember. Had a few glasses of wine. I remember we had Chinese food. That was funny.
Yeah,
Chinese food in Prague.
Chinese food. Yeah. Well, so a lot all over Europe, but definitely the Czech Republic. They're big on American cuisine or Chinese. Like they in different countries like flavors. I remember going to an American bar, which is like
Budweiser.
The interpretation, the Czech interpretation of an American bar, which is the best.
That's where Budweiser comes from. Budvar.
The Budvar, yeah, the Pilsner, which is nasty.
Is it pretty gross?
Yeah.
So is Budweiser.
Yeah. Ironically, the Budvar. Well, not ironically. Coincidentally, the Budvar is hoppier, but also really sweet. So
yeah.
It's like it's kind of gross, and that's like Budweiser. That's the American version of that. You're like, oh well, I see where they got it from, and it's also not good.
They took the sugar taste out of it, not the sugar itself.
That's right. So we're talking about goals today.
Now year's resolutions.
No, well, New Year's resolutions. Have you ever done that?
No, I just call them now year's because I don't like to wait till the New Year's.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because it's a trap. But we're here.
Well, I love the flip of the calendar. I like the clean scoreboard. I think everybody naturally does. I love a Monday, and New Year's Day is on a Monday.
It is.
So
synchronistic.
It's the ultimate Monday. Yeah.
We gotta wait 7 more years till that comes again.
Maybe. Yeah, I think you're right.
Unless there's a leap year. I don't know how that shit works.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah, let's call it 7 more years.
Right.
But yeah, so it's a big one. Now year's resolutions.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. The fitness industry is kind of famous for having like the New Year's rush, or there being like a New Year's resolution crowd. That's kind of a myth. There's not really a New Year's rush.
A bunch of people sign up for memberships. Go and get fit.
Not so much. What happens is the reason why gyms seem full in mid-January is because people stop traveling after the New Year, and their kids go back to school, like the last week of January, second week of January. Last week of January, beginning of the second week of January. So people stop traveling. Their kids are in school. They're back in routine, and they come back in around January 18th. And the fitness industry, I think, made it a thing to have a New Year's resolution, make it about fitness, so they could have a gym promotions, right? Fitness promotions.
People are free.
Mm-hmm. And it's on top of mind, I guess. Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit of timing. It's like kind of like the Valentine's Day for the fitness industry.
Yeah.
But there's not, having been in the industry for 20 years, there's not really a big rush in my experience. It's a bunch of promotions that you'll kick off. You probably have started in December like I did, and you'll see the fruit of that in the first few weeks of January. But that's the methodology. But I'm a big goal setter. That was the point of this conversation.
That's what we're doing.
So do you have a history of setting goals around New Year's?
No, because I feel like it's a trap because I'm a good procrastinator and I think, I'll just wait till the New Year's to do it. Then you get all hyped and you get the free dopamine rush of like, I'm going to do it. And then you like the idea of it and you do it for a week and then go back to your own habits. So if you want to make a change, like you can just pick one thing and start. I have the problem also of like having like too many at once, and then not knowing, like just get overwhelmed and then say fuck it. So I have to like rank in order of importance and almost put some to the back burner for a while. So the other ones are like habits. If they're not habits, then I'm just like spinning plates.
Yeah. So what I heard you say is that it's the enthusiasm wells up, but the change doesn't necessarily land
You get overwhelmed.
as aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, get overwhelmed. I like that. Well, I mean, I don't like that, but that's common, I think.
Yes.
And
Avoidance.
I think I just shared with you, and we'll share it, my goal setting process. But I deliberately cook my goals down, my process down until it doesn't feel heavy. Because if it feels like everything is exciting, like having $1 million in your bank account sounds exciting, but then if you look at all the skills you have to create that,
Not so exciting.
it is wild, you know, and yeah, and it could be overwhelming.
It will be overwhelming.
Yeah, well, you have to be a different person, right? So I think the essence for me of the reason why I like New Year's so much is it's like a halfway point, because you know my birthday's in July, so I'm a July birthday, so it's like 6 months between my birthday and the first of the year, and it's like a check-in, because you usually do a little reflection on your birthday for what's gone on in your life, and at least I do, and New Year's does that as well, and it's also a reminder of like the compass setting of writing those objectives down in my journal. It's like, am I in alignment with this person now? Like, is this like Josh just a little more focused, a little more turned up, or does that look like a different person? And every year that I do it, it seems like it's more in alignment with who I want to be and who I am showing up already is. So it's like less dramatic of a shift.
Like that saying, what gets measured gets done. I don't know who said that, but if you don't measure something, then all these goals are just going to be ideas. And you got a good way of putting it in objectives, strategies, and tactics through the military lens.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to conceptualize what we're talking about.
That's right. Objectives, strategy, and tactics. And this process, maybe it does come from the military. It's certainly where I learned it. And it's as simple as the objective is the reason why you're doing the mission. The strategy is
Use one of your examples of like one of your missions that you had to do. Like one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
If it's classified, then of course talk about it. I don't know if it's
like
the best of your duration.
Depends of right. Good question. An objective would be to great. So the objective is usually a person, all right, or a location to take control of. Take control of a person, take control of an area or an asset or something. And so most of our objectives were people.
Capture, kill, or rescue.
Yeah, in Afghanistan for sure, because there's not a lot of territory that has any. I mean, there's territorial strategic value, but
after that, moon dust.
Exactly. There's not like you're getting oil refineries out of a country like Afghanistan. So the objective is a person, and you have multiple strategies for how you would acquire that person. Now, a strategy could be an ambush, meaning like I know where they're going to be, but I don't know when they're going to be there. So I'm going to set up in advance, and they're going to trigger the ambush. So I choose the place, they choose the time. And so that gives me the advantage in some ways. In some ways, it's a disadvantage.
You gotta wait.
And a raid is you choose the time, I choose the time, they choose the place. So they're not moving. There's a compound that we have to get into, and we're going to go into the time that makes the most sense for us and least sense for them. And
Zero
then
dark 30.
yeah, exactly, dark as hell. And then the tactics is how. So you choose a strategy based on what makes the most sense for the resources that you have, and the constraints that you have. And the tactics are how you execute the strategy. So if you're going to execute a raid, are you going to use vehicles? Are you going to use ground vehicles? Are you going to use aerial vehicles? Are you going to no vehicles? Are you going to do dismount? Are you going to go in under the cover of darkness? What are the methods you're going to use to conceal your activities until the last possible second? And you could change tactics, but if you change strategies, your tactics become pretty irrelevant, right? So
Or dangerous.
yeah, or a liability, right? So if you shift from the objective as a person, and if you change strategies in the middle of a mission, you've screwed up all the work that you've done to get there most of the time. So this has big relevance and change when you're going through your goals or our goals, and the whether it's physical transformation, financial health, transformation, emotional transformation, anything that's a big, fat, hairy, scary goal. The goal, if it's in alignment with what you really want, who you really are, or who you want to be, then you want to pick a strategy that makes it inevitable that you're going to succeed. And there's all kinds, books. Books are thousands of books have been written on diet. Thousands of books have been written on exercise. There's lots of valid strategies. And then there's infinite tactics, essentially. But what I see people do, and I've done this tons of times, is I see people pick strategies that don't make sense for the resources and the objective that they have, and the constraints that they have. So let's talk about a good fitness example. So if my objective is to lose weight, this is a common one, lose body fat. A lot of times the strategy that someone will have to execute on that goal in the past, and America has really sophisticated its understanding of fitness in the last 10 years specifically. But in the past, you'd see somebody with their goal that wouldn't have anything to do with nutrition. The goal would have to I'm going to exercise my way out of this. I'm going to out on the fork. I'm going to work out 5 days a week. I'm going to train really, really hard, do HIIT or whatever.
And have that Burger King later.
Or whatever. I mean, eat well or not eat enough. But it's just not a factor. And they think that the input that matters the most is going to be the intensity of their training. When you're talking about a very specific outcome goal, like the amount you weigh on the scale, that has to be done nutritionally. You can't control. The only way to control your weight is to control your calories. And you can change your performance with your training. So if you have a goal of running a marathon or building muscle, you can do some things in the gym. But even when you go over to muscle, go back to aesthetics, you still it has to be nutrition, has to be a big part of that. So the strategy needs to match the objective and the constraints that you have. So if you're a vegan and you're trying to put on a lot of muscle, you can do it, and there's vegans that do it, but
it's hard.
It's very difficult. So you have to be willing to have a high degree of commitment on that strategy, and be willing to be very disciplined. So I try to pick, for me, I pick objectives I care about that would make me feel good just to be in pursuit of. Strategies that are easiest and most fun to execute. And if they're not fun, it's a discipline that I want, and not necessarily the discipline that I am good at. So
what do you mean by that?
So I want to learn to play the guitar. I hate sitting still, and I hate learning. So I hate playing music that I'm not, because it doesn't sound good. When you're not good at something, it doesn't sound good.
No. Try the violin. It's a good one.
I don't like it, but I want to and be more self-compassionate, and I want to slow down, and I want to play more. It's in alignment with a bunch of things I want, even though the process makes me uncomfortable. It's a discomfort I want.
I gotcha.
So that discipline. right? So I like the discipline of lifting weights. I like the discipline of running. I like the discipline of eating. It's pretty easy for me to stick to a diet plan. So that's not a discipline that's difficult for me. Slowing down, getting enough sleep is a little bit difficult, right? So there's pieces of that aren't easy for me, but I want that. That's who I want to be in alignment with. So even if doesn't make me feel good to do it, I know that the outcome and the process is healing for me, to get better sleep, to take better care of myself. So not necessarily picking a process that makes you feel good, like in a hedonistic way.
Yeah. That's not going to work probably anyways.
But a process that makes me feel good spiritually.
Okay.
So objective, the outcome that you actually want that will make you feel good to pursue. The strategy based on the constraints and the resources that you have access to now, not imaginary resources, which is where people get mixed up. Like, oh, well, I'll have more time when, yeah, sure. When your boss is nicer to you and your spouse takes care of the kids and like all your responsibilities are gone. No, you don't. You don't have that time. So what time do you have now? That's the time you're cooking with.
That's the time you're cooking with. There you go.
So strategy based on the resources and constraints you have now, that puts the objective as an inevitability eventually. Because if you take out time, if you say this is what I hate about SMART goals. Specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time bound. Well, as soon as you put time into play, like my blood pressure gets up. If you tell me I got to get my bench press up to 300
in 3 weeks,
or even 6 months, it's
stressful.
plausible. But now I'm really going to be worried about every workout, and that a little bit of pressure is good. But say if time is irrelevant, can you get your bench press to 300? Oh yeah, for sure. Okay. So I'll be on my plan to get to my bench press in 6 months, and maybe 8 months, maybe a year, whatever. I don't necessarily control the output, but as soon as you start to put that time constraint on,
like super hard.
Yeah.
You can have like a general idea, maybe
Right.
in 6 months.
Right, which is why
Flexible time.
it's like if your goal this year is to start a podcast, you could probably start the podcast by the end of listening to this podcast, right?
Yeah.
Like you hit play, go, like you could just
Get reps.
So I think that's a process goal. And then back to, so when you have the strategy, then you write out the tactics, and the tactics need to make sense and need to be things that you either know how to do or can learn how to do pretty easily, or that you're interested in learning how to do. So I'm not interested in learning how to get good at Facebook ads. However, in order to grow the way that I want to grow, I'm going to need to have some competency in that. Right. And so I can write that down as a skill that I kind of know what it is, and then maybe I can explore more as my business grows. But if you're writing down tactics and your process, and it seems like out of reach, it probably is. All of the things that are fitness inputs, lifting weights, doing push-ups, doing meal prep. If you don't have practice at those, then I would be very careful about the specificity of the goals or the timeline that you're writing down, right? So if you're really good at meal prep and you're really disciplined at eating and training, then you probably know, okay, it's going to take me about 6-7 months to cut 25 pounds and get back into my old fighting weight. Cool. But if you've never done that, I might say, hey, the goal is to get into a program for 3 months with a coach and learn how to do those things so I can have control of my life and my health in a different way.
To get it sort of refine.
Yeah, that's right. I think that we need to give ourselves a lot more grace for things that we don't have skill. And just self-awareness of knowing where our skill doesn't lie.
Yeah, you're not bad, because that's the thing.
Yeah.
I think we get bring shame and always suck, and then you avoid doing something about it.
Yeah. Oh, right before we hit play, I was talking about I wouldn't say I suck, but I like to skip slowing down and the mental health and the spiritual health stuff of meditation and journaling and really giving myself time. That's something that is a burgeoning skill for me. And I need a lot of hand-holding. So I've had coaches and mentors and people meditate with me and give me drills, and I'm very early on in the reps process of that. And so I don't set ambitious goals with my personal growth that way. I'm just like, okay, I'd like to daily hit start time on my watch and do 10 minutes of journaling.
And 1 hour meditation.
That's right. Perfect stillness with absolutely no interruption.
Yeah,
that's right.
Good things happen when you get to that point, but start with 10 minutes. Yeah.
I mean, good things happen when you begin any journey.
Ass on cushion, as they say. You've won the day. You've done your meditation. You got your ass on cushion, and if you sat there and quote unquote meditated, and then you got up and noticed that you just thought the whole time, you actually just meditated. Because guess what? You just noticed that you were thinking the whole time. That's meditation. You noticed.
Yep.
The whole time you sat there and thought, and then you judged that you didn't meditate. But upon reflection, you noticed, I was thinking, hey, you just meditated. That's what meditation is. It's not having a blank mind. Nigh impossible. Is that what we're going for?
I love that. And I like that you were, you made it easy to succeed in that definition.
Yeah, that's where it starts.
So what areas do you feel like the most competent in your life, and what areas do you feel like the least competent?
I think we're like reversed, like taking time and going slow and all that. Like I do that too much, I think. I'm a good avoider too, procrastinator. I could sit and meditate for a while, I could journal for a while, I can read. I was talking about my reading goals. Like I was mad I didn't hit my 65, and you're like, that's pretty high. And I almost read 100 books in 1 year. But I'm also using a lot of time doing that, where I need to be focused in other areas. So I need to borrow from you on taking more action and getting granular about what your goals are and what's the strategy, what's the tactic, things like that. Because I have the objective, and then it's like, cool, let's do that one day. I'll move a little bit, but kind of nowhere for a lot of these things.
Well, the sort of the yang energy is like where
yeah, I need more of that. Yeah.
So you're motivated to take action on reading, apparently.
That's because I enjoy it, right? So it's I like to learn, and I like stuff like interest, knowledge, even fiction books, fun.
Well, yeah, you're a curious person, and that's really. You seem like you're pretty aggressive on the training front too.
Yeah, that one's never been hard. I think it's because of growing up playing sports and stuff. It's just built in.
Sports and dance.
And yeah, exactly.
Which is a sport.
Technically, yeah. I mean, I was in the best shape of my life when I was doing dance versus when I was playing soccer, basketball, or track. But yeah, I started sports when I was in preschool, kindergarten. So that's always been built in, luckily.
Okay, so let's make this a valuable session for the both of us. What's the thing that you're most afraid of taking action on?
Probably taking on more patients and scaling up in that regard. It's always a catch-22 for us healers who want to help people, is like charging them money, right? We just want to help them, and we feel bad for having to charge them. But it's our time, and can you put a price on mental health? And if you change someone's life, that should be worth that. The other factor is it's a hard-ass job. It's a hard-ass job. Like we were talking earlier, and it's like, yeah, people don't sit down for 40 hours a week and talk for 50 minutes a day to people. They're doing 4 hours a week concentrated by themselves, maybe on email or whatever, maybe on the phone from time to time. We're literally talking, and we're not just shooting the shit, we're like deep conversations of depth all day long. So if I did 40 hours a week of that, I would be fried. And some of us try to do that and they burn out quick. And you have the other 10 hours a week that's like the admin, right? The chart notes, the bane of our existence, or working on your blog or website or fucking social media, which I can't stand, but I have to do it some way. So those areas I'm really deficient in.
There's so much good stuff here. I love it, Miles.
I have a lot of resistance as well, but and if I want to scale up, like if I want to do more men's groups, things like that, if I want to, this podcast, for example, what if one day it gets big and gets monetized? Well, great, that's scaling up, things like that. I mean, those are goals where I'm lacking.
Well, first of all, oh my gosh, this is so good. This is the reason why we're doing this podcast. So, let me help you with the money thing. Or first of all, let me help you. That's so pretentious. But the money conversation flipped for me when I was running this really amazing program at my gym in Southeast Portland, and it was so awesome. We did strength conditioning, we did powerlifting, we did all this performance-based stuff. It was really, 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 not perfect, but certainly new school, holistically balanced, just really great 5-star training. I couldn't name a better program off the top of my head in the state that you could go to get it. And I put so much love and energy into it, and I would, follow up with my people, weekly. They had accountability coaches, and we were charging typical small box, $197 a month or whatever. And the thing that I noticed is after about a year of that, I would call people to give them a check-in on their nutrition plan or just let them know I care, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm glad you called. I just wanted to cancel my membership," And I had all these notes about "Oh, how are you doing with the negative self-talk, Mrs. Jones," and all that, and I realized wow, I'm so much more invested than they are, and I got all these ideas about where we're trying to go, and to them it's just a gym membership,
right?
And so then I started to charge more and just bump it up by $20. And pretty soon we were charging 50% more than we were before. And we actually got better results and the people were more invested.
You put more money in, you want to put more of your time into it.
Yeah. But I spiritually came to that conclusion organically of they have to be, actually realistically, they need to be more invested than me. It can't be about me and what I want for them. It has to be 51-49. They're the person that's bugging me about, what we're doing.
Can't chase.
Right. And then that realized that the low barrier to the lower barrier meant that people could say yes, even though they didn't really care. Right. And there's lots of that where they'll take it at $97, but if it was $397, oh, I don't really want to get in shape. Great. Well, then save us both a bunch of time.
Right. You're precluding people you don't want to work with.
Yes.
It's not 24-hour fitness.
And
not 24-hour fitness.
But that takes the pressure off you and puts it back on them because they're the person with the power in the dynamic, right? You create the container and you can see their potential, but they don't even know it's possible, right? So they you're actually giving them the steam and the energy to move forward. And like you said, you have to promote and have a megaphone to talk about those things with people so that you get the right people in the boat. But not wanting to charge or undercharging them, that actually hurts their results. Is in my experience what I've observed. And not because the material's not good, but because the pressure's not on them to make something happen or to make it valuable or make it a valuable investment.
Yeah, I figured that background noise. We're at the gym today recording, and that's the golf simulator for everyone that golf sound.
People are in the gym right now making that investment work for them.
Exactly. Some days we're at my office doing this where it's quiet, and then some days you got gym sounds. So we're giving you a mix.
Real life sounds, people.
Exactly.
So cool, man. So that's the thing that you're kind of. There's a bunch of spiderweb of issues standing in your value, taking up space, getting attention, growing as a practitioner, all these little business pieces around that, but there's some overlapping issues. So that sounds like where the most of your spiritual growth is going to come from. You start to tackle those things, because that's going to, who knows who you'll become when you start to take up more space and charge what you're worth and hold people accountable to who they want to become.
Yeah, and being able to know I can handle more people and not get burnt out. I have a fear that I will get burnt out because it already is a lot. But what it's like with marathon runners, they say when you hit the wall, you've only got to 40%. It's probably something like that.
Well, that's 100% true of my experience of business. Like whatever you're comfortable with, that's like so you can sleep and mail it in.
Yes, yeah.
But we don't want to sleepwalk. We want to be aggressive. Yeah. And being squeezed, I say this all the time, is I have to finish a phone call, 2 minutes early to hop on the next call, and then eat while I'm, doing an intake or something. It's it's okay to be a little bit squeezed if it's squeezing you forward.
Squeezing you forward.
Squeezing you, just like
a bumper sticker.
Just like toothpaste getting squeezed out of the bottom of the tooth.
Fail forward and squeeze forward. I like that.
That's right. Well, man, okay, this is exciting. Well, I've got some shit to hold you accountable for then.
All right.
Bangarang-Rufio.
Let's do it. What else around goals do we want to share?
Okay. And I think so. Selecting a hairy, scary goal, and then forgetting about. So once you write the objective, and you write out the strategy and the tactics, and you are in alignment and agreement, and you can execute on the tactics, and you've got the proper goal selected. Forget about the actual specificity of it, but hold yourself daily to a daily accountability on the process, on the tactics. So in the 4 Disciplines of Execution, the author talks about, who shall remain nameless until I come back and edit this. The author talks about the wildly important goal, the WIG, the WIG, and then you have the leading indicators. The leading indicators are things that create the goal. So it's sales conversations in a business. It's man hours when you're building a house. It's it takes a certain amount of inputs to create the output. So once you've got the goal, that tells you the strategy. The tactics are going to be how well you execute the strategy. You forget the goal, you forget the strategy, and then every day it's a scoreboard. Did I get my lifting in? Did I eat? Did I get the hydration? Did I go to sleep on time? Did I make that phone call? Did I write the gratitude list? Did I kiss my girlfriend? Did I, and you just chalk up the wins.
Does one need a checklist every day of these things? The tactics, make sure you're doing them.
I think I call it just the wins.
The wins list.
Yeah, Aziz Gazipur has a book called 100 Days of Winning, or 100 Wins. It's how to cultivate gratitude for yourself. And we should be proud of ourselves every day. We should be proud of who we're showing up as and the work that we're doing towards these things.
Instead of self-flagellating.
If there's something you're avoiding, so what the tactic for you, it might be doing a social media post. So if the tactic that you're avoiding is social media, 1, that's where you have the most room to grow. 2, then have other people hold you accountable. So okay, I got to create a social media post every day this week. So I need you to, check tomorrow. And if I haven't posted, send me a text or whatever.
Or have them do it for me.
No, it won't work. So, my belief is if you don't have a thorough understanding of the objective and the strategy, whatever it is won't work if you have someone else do it for you. So you can have a chef prepare your meals, but you have to understand and tell them the strategy that they're executing, right? If the chef is creating your meal plan for you, then you don't know
Right.
That you don't know, you're not going to have the buy-in that this is going to create the outcome you want.
Might be the food he wants to eat.
Yeah, right. I mean, so I
sure.
think outsourcing your goals can't be done. You can't outsource responsibility. You can outsource a role. So if you hire a babysitter, that babysitter doesn't raise your kids, right? They just take care of them to get them to school.
Make sure they don't kill themselves.
That's right. That's right. So you can outsource a role, but you can't outsource responsibility. So you can hold, people can hold you accountable. No one can chew your food for you. You have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's where the growth comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So, we were talking about fitness goals, and if you have to eat a lot of calories, when I have to eat a lot of calories, I get intimidated sometimes because I forget to eat. I'm not that hungry. And getting a few thousand calories in a day is sometimes tedious. Not sometimes, it's tedious for anyone who has to eat a lot. But 4,000 calories is my goal, and I'm going to work up to it. But I had to write it out to make sure I could do it. And even if it didn't necessarily feel comfortable, like that doesn't seem easy for me to eat a fifth meal every day. Like, it doesn't seem easy. I wrote down a meal that I would want to eat in there, steak and eggs. And I was like, yes, but could I do that for dinner 3 nights a week?
Yeah.
Sure, I could do that for dinner 3 nights a week. So I want to be in alignment. I want to align myself to the person I'm trying to become, not the person I'm holding myself back as today. So I have to let go of the comfort of not having to worry about food when I get home to nope, I've got one more thing to do. And then I can
relax.
But making it simple, small, and specific and easy. Simple, small, the 3 S's and the 1 E. So if your thing is promoting yourself is challenging, simple, small, specific, easy, what can you do? And then that's where you get out of your comfort zone in small doses to build up the confidence, the familiarity, and the comfort so that it becomes a part of you.
It's like exposure therapy almost.
It's exactly what it is. It's exposing yourself. Yeah, but don't take a picture of your,
That's a different industry.
Yeah. OnlyFans is social media.
Some people are making quite a bit of money.
Yeah, well, if you get
Just
into
the
foot
times.
pics, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, okay. Well, all right. You got to promote yourself. I got to slow down.
I got to speed up.
We'll meet in the middle.
Yeah, yin and yang.
I love it.
Yeah.
So objective, strategy, tactics, and then forget the goal, forget the objective, and just focus on the daily and put the daily wins, gratitude in the process.
I like that.
And if you're not liking the process, you either pick the wrong goal, and it's okay. Not everybody wants this, speaking Spanish sounds fun. Maybe you don't like, maybe Spanish speaking isn't the language you want to learn. But I wouldn't, just because it's not comfortable doesn't mean it's not fulfilling and good. So just distinguishing between discomfort and what is a healthy growth process. It's okay to be uncomfortable if it's uncomfortable towards healing, towards growth.
Yeah, hurts when you work out.
Yeah, exactly.
But later.
Every rep past pain is growth.
Yeah.
That's what the Governor says.
I've been reading his book. He just came out with the book.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, be useful.
All right. Closing thoughts?
Set big goals. Be gentle with the tactics. Be gentle with yourself in pursuit. Enjoy the process. Happy New Year. Have fun.
Yep. Now Year's resolutions. Get after it.
Out.